I know sometimes we can ask ourselves questions like, what books should I read to change my life? What books should I read to become a better version of myself? Oh well, don't look any further because I got you covered in today's video. Do you want to know something funny? I used to hate reading any books that wasn't a fiction or a romantic novel. But now I only focus on reading books that helps me gain a new perspective about something, improve myself, or level up in all areas of my life, such as romance, health, and finance. Now, don't come at me. No shame on any of you guys who likes to read novels and fiction books and romance books. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think at this stage of my life, I want to read books that would only add value into my life and make me a better person. I can't say I've read dozens of books, even though that might be my ultimate goal. But I believe I've read enough books to help me transform my lives and make things possible for me that I never thought would be possible. So without further ado, I like to divide the type of books I'm going to mention today in 4 different categories, such as healing, mindset, finance, and success. Before I forget, if it's your first time here, I'm Dee. Welcome to my channel. I make videos that are committed to help people, especially my ladies, become the director of their own life. So if that sounds like you, make sure to tag along the journey. Let's start with the books that helps with healing first, because I believe that sometimes our soul and our body might need more healing to do and more work to do rather than our minds. I want to talk about one of my favorite books. This book saved me at a stage of my life that I needed saving the most. When I left my business of 5 years, it didn't feel easy. I felt hurt, I felt disappointed, I literally felt pain in my soul. So when I came across one of these TikTok videos I was talking about this book, I ordered it right away, and as soon as I got my hands on it, I couldn't stop reading it for hours. And I remember the first 30 pages that I was reading of this book, I couldn't stop crying while reading it. It felt real, it felt raw, it felt like the author was literally talking to me one-on-one. This book literally healed my soul. It made me understand that healing is not a one-time event that happens in our life. It made me understand why certain things happen in our lives the way they happen. It made me understand why I needed everything, no matter how big or how small, happen in my life the way it happened for me to end up being at a state I was at that point when reading this book. It answered so many of my questions I had in my head, and it answered them so beautifully. So whenever I see a friend that is going through the same healing journey as mine, or is starting to take their healing journey seriously, I suggest them this book right away. When you're ready, this is How You Heal by Brianna Wiest. God bless her soul, because I don't know if this book would have not found me at that stage of my life, what I would have done. For the second book I'm going to talk about, all the ladies out there, you need to get your hands on this book. I believe for decades, woman's body hasn't been recognized the way it should have been. I think so many of us out here don't have any idea of how our body works, how our monthly cycle works, what's happening in each cycle of our month. Did you know our body clocks are different than men? We both have the circadian rhythm or the circadian clock, which is the first clock of our body responsible for the physical, mental, and behavioral changes that follows a 24-hour cycle. But as women, we also have a different clock called the infradian clock or the infradian rhythm, which is responsible for what happens between that 28-day monthly cycle we have every month. And men don't have this clock, of course. So whatever we do as a woman on a day-to-day basis is being affected by this second clock. But the only thing men have to worry about is their 24-hour cycle. Basically from the time they wake up, what's happening in their body and their hormones, and up until the end of the day, and then there's going to be a reset the next day. Could you imagine that as women, not only that we have to understand how the circadian clock works in our body, for us to know how to use this vessel, use this body into its best possible way, but also the second clock as well. So if we know how our hormones work in each cycles of our body, how our energy it is, what type of diet we should have, what type of workouts we should do, it's just a life changer. That's all I'm going to say. So ladies, get your hands on this book. Let's talk mindset now. This is the area of my life that I'm working so hard on currently, but I believe there are certain things that I've learned from certain books that I've read that has gotten me at least to where I am today that I can share with you. Listen, my girl, no matter how hard you work, if you're not gonna fix what's up here, getting to the destination you desire, it's gonna be impossible. Because imagine this, imagine if you knew that there's a 1% chance that if you work hard enough, you're gonna become successful. Would you give up on that? Or would you try to work as hard as possible as you can because you have that 1% chance to make it happen in life? Now imagine the opposite. What if you had that 1% chance and no matter what you do in this life, you're not gonna make it happen. You're not gonna be successful. Wouldn't that already put you down a little bit and make you feel disappointed? Or maybe at least a little discouraged that what if it's not gonna work? That's why I say hard work is not enough. Sorry, not sorry. With that being said, the first book I want to mention is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book is not about how you're going to become rich only or wealthy, no. But it's about how you can become rich in all areas of your life. And it definitely gives you a new perspective on how you should think. One of the most important things Napoleon Hill says in his book is that thoughts become things. And what he really means is that if we have that definiteness of purpose, we have that persistency, and we put in that hard work with thinking the right thoughts, there's no way we won't get to the goals and everything we want in our life. The next book is called One-on-One Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. Again, another beautiful book by Brianna Wiest. I feel like she surprises me every time I touch any of her books. I haven't really completely finished this book yet, but I couldn't resist but to include it in this video. We'll take this in. The other day, I kept thinking about creativity. For a straight 2 days, this thoughts about creativity and how I can be more creative, this and that. I just kept carrying it with myself. And then one day when I was at the spa, I opened the book and boom, it was right there. It was talking to me about creativity. It's almost as if this book knows in which phase of my life I'm in, and boom, right there, it gives me the step-by-step of how to get through it. Does it change the way you think? Absolutely. It goes from essays such as 102 Ways to Not Let Irrational Thoughts Ruin Your Life to essays like 20 Goals to Set that are more about enjoying what you have than chasing what you don't. This book is just pure gold. That's all I can tell you. The next book, Take Control of Your Life by Mel Robbins. I remember listening to this audiobook literally driving to the office and on my way back home. What she basically does in this book is interview all these different people with all these different backgrounds, different jobs, different lives, and discover the fear of rejection, change, and being alone about them. She even goes over some of people's deepest, darkest thoughts that they have about themselves. And some of these people literally start crying while being on these interviews. I think it's impossible for you to not find yourself similar to any of these people being interviewed. So I highly suggest this one. And I feel like I would want to even listen to it again because I feel like I need it. And next, let's talk about finance because why not? I'm sure most of us in today's age and society, we want to find new ways on how we can learn about how money works and how we can achieve the certain level of wealth we want by the age we want. There's no better book to start with when it comes to money other than Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The first time I heard this book, I'm like, yeah. So it basically teaches you how to be rich. But as soon as I came across it in a library, I got my hands on it and I'm like, okay, you know what? I can read this while I'm on my bus on my way to university and coming back home. And that's how it all started. That was actually one of my first book that I read that it wasn't a novel. This book completely changed the way I look at the education system and had a very strong influence on me wanting to become an entrepreneur, which is my ultimate goal right now anyways too. So of course, I think anybody, man or woman, should have a certain level of understanding when it comes to money and have a strong will to want to become financially literate and know how to manage their own funds. Another one, how to get rich and avoid getting ripped off by insurance companies. Well, yes, I do come from a financial background. I used to be a financial broker, so I do find this book very fascinating and simple on how it explains how things like insurance and investment works, and at least knowing the basics of it. I believe in today's world we need insurance for literally everything, for our car, for our phone, for our home, for our life. And for things like this, it's better to always be early than late. So I would definitely suggest this one if you want to have a better understanding of what type of different insurances exist out there, which one would be better suited for you, and the same goes for investment as well. So remember how we were talking about thoughts become things and how working hard is just not enough? Well, this book called Working with the Law, it's actually an amazing book, and explains to you how there's different laws in the universe that exist, and if we were to apply them to our lives, we will just get to everything that we want in our life so much easier and so much faster. I'm pretty sure by now 99% of you know about the law of attraction. Well, what if I tell you that there are other laws that exist in the universe as well, such as the law of vibration, the law of rhythm, the law of average, and the list goes on. I'll promise you, you'll find this book fascinating. I know I did. When you start to understand that there's a higher power and reasoning as to why things happen the way they do, you learn how to work with them and roll with them and not against them. And it just makes life so much easier. Number 9, how to win friends and influence people. You think you're shy, introverted, you don't know how to make connections, how to meet people and make friends? This one's for you. When I first read this book, I didn't know how to make friends. I never used to look at people and their behavior and why they do the things they do the way I look at them now. And also, I was so shy that I would never actually approach someone. I would like them to become my friend until they would come to me or they would approach me. They had to make the first move. This book has helped open so many doors to me and helped me build so many connections with people that either ended up becoming my best friend, my friend, or even my clients, especially when I was in business. So if you're an entrepreneur, my lady, I definitely suggest you this one. And lastly, number 10, have you heard people saying things like, oh, this person has a very poor mindset about money, or this person doesn't really have a good relationship with money? Well, what if I tell you that there is a way you could change that? The Science of Getting Rich. This book changes the way you look at money forever, and it helps you fix that bad relationship you have with money. So if you read this one, be ready to enter an abundant, prosperous time of your life. And that brings us to the end of this video. Don't forget, any video I make is committed to help you become a better version of yourself while taking control of your life and becoming the director of your own life. Let me know of any book that you think I would like and I should check out next in the comments. And also let me know if you have read any of the books I mentioned today and what you thought of them. Oh, and I almost forgot. Don't forget to follow me with the same username on Instagram and TikTok so we can stay connected. Until later, bye!
Tell me I'm the only one that you